I forgot to put out a book. Let's see what I have handy. Lightworkers Guide. There's so many. I'm so excited to have new books to share with you guys. I mean, who doesn't love a good new book, right? All right. Are we ready? I'm ready. Wait, I have notes. I shall tape up notes. All right. Bonus points to anybody who recognizes where this cup is from. I know at least a couple of people in this group. One of them just joined. Who may know? Another one just joined. Who probably know where this cup is from. All right. Let's talk about, do I have any strawberry? I just had a strawberry lemonade. I was afraid I might have some in my tea. Okay. Let's talk about managing the energy ramp up. Boom. Right? Okay. So I've just been assuming you guys knew what I meant by energy ramp up. And then I was on a group call and Will, hey Holly, hey Roxanne, Heidi Talar, Heidi Cherry, welcome everyone. And then Will was like, what is this energy ramp up you're talking about? And I'm like, oh my God, right. I didn't even explain it, right? So I've been talking for a few months about there's energy that will be speeding up. For some of us, it's already started. For some of us, it's coming very soon, right? But sometime between now and the beginning of November, you're going to experience what I'm calling a ramp up in your life. And what that means is all of a sudden, stuff that has been stagnant, that you haven't thought about in years, that whatever, all of a sudden wants to move forward like right now. And the universe, the energy is super supportive. Everything is lining up to carry you forward and actually execute, complete, launch, whatever, right? So yeah, like Roxanne is like, ready. Heidi says, I'm ready. Cherry says, good morning. Hi, Cherry. And Mike says, hi. Hey, Mike, Melissa, Jackie, Susan. Cherry's like, the energy is just crazy. Yeah, it is. Hey, Melissa says, hey, all. Okay, so that's the gist of it, right? Is that things are just going to start moving faster. And I know when we've been in this like now 2.5 to 3 year slump of just thick, dense energy, and things haven't felt like they were moving forward, and we haven't felt, I don't know about you, but a lot of us have not felt like we could manifest quickly and swiftly and easily in a couple of years. It's just, we've been in this really dense energy, right? So all of that is shifting, falling away, and we're just going to take off like rockets. Okay. So yeah, some of you guys know, like this, I wrote this novel 6 years ago, and all of a sudden it's like now, okay, we need to come out now, like right now, like by Christmas. I'm like, okay, I have Lightworkers Guide Book 2 coming out. I have the new edition of Boom coming out. Sure, why not? Let's put out another freaking book. Well, I hope y'all like books. I hope you have a lot of friends and family that like books. So you can buy a lot of these books, because it's kind of trippy to think about launching 3 books in 3 months. But not so much the work. I'm down with the work. I'm good with that. But like, that's a lot to ask people to buy like 3 books and to do a big push for a launch in 3 months. But all right. I don't know what that means, Heidi. She says, including surprise batteries. Susan waves hi. Courtney says, holla frickin' Luya. John Halderman says, I feel it. Impending wonderfulness. Ooh, that's a good way. That's a good way to say it. All right. Welcome, Michelle and Courtney. And Susan says, bang Zoom. Yep, definitely. So, and I know that some of you haven't yet started your ramp up are getting like a little impatient. And as soon as it happens, you'll be like, oh shit, I could have had more time to prepare. So take care of all the stuff that needs to be taken care of, right? Because when the ramp up happens, you're going to have time for little else other than whatever is demanding your attention right now. So we talked about what the ramp up is. Why is it happening? Okay. 5D, you've been hearing this term, 5D thrown around a lot. 5th dimension, right? And people sort of have different understandings, different interpretations of what that is. So, but in essence, we're shifting into a higher vibration of reality. Okay. So it's a dimension that is beyond time and space. So, but and if you've done astral travel, I know a lot of us in this group have done stuff like astral travel. You're like, what to do? Who cares about 5D? Like we've been in 5D. I don't know about y'all, right? We've been in 5D. We've been zipping here, zipping there, and I've been time traveling for years, right? So I'm like, what is the big deal about 5D? Okay, the big deal, if you don't know, the big deal is that for whatever reason, we've collectively chosen to experience 5D inside our human bodies. So it's like 4D plus 5D, right? So we're in 3D. We're in the 4th dimension, which is time and space. And now we're going to be in our bodies in the 5th dimension. What does that mean? I don't know. Like, we'll find out. I didn't really know what the ramp up meant until mine started. And then I was like, oh, right, this is this thing I've been talking about all freaking year. It's here. It's happening. Okay. So this is why it's happening. Whatever this ramp up is preparing us for this transition into 5D. Okay. And Cherry says, I'm waiting for your books. Thank you, Cherry. I think you're really going to like the novel too. It's very cool. Heidi C says manifestations. Oh, you manifested surprise batteries? Nice. Congrats. Heidi says, what? Oh, Hillary's here. Hey, Hill. All right. So that's why it's here. Okay. It's preparing us for 5D. Now, the other good thing to know is that this is not forever. If you're in your ramp up, let's be honest, you're probably doing 3 other things while you're watching this video, right? Because you're like, there's so much, oh my God, but I need to know how to deal with this. So I'm going to listen to Amy while I'm doing 17 other things. I get it. Okay. I totally get it. There's a lot happening right now, but it's not forever. In fact, I get by January, this ramp up, this frenzied energy where like everything is clamoring for your attention right now. And it's all like good. I mean, it's the majority of it's good. There's still some bumps and hiccups and stuff, but the majority of what's happening is moving you forward to what you want. It's just all happening all at once. That's what this ramp up is like, right? But it's not forever. By January, things are going to smooth out and we're going to be in more of a rhythm. Okay. So if the pace feels like so much and you're wondering how much more you can take, hang in there. Okay. Because it will be short-lived. Right. And for some people, it won't even start till the beginning of November. But I know I'm talking to more and more people that are in it right now, right? In it or it's happening or whatever. Okay. Now, what if you don't actually know if you're in the ramp up, or what if you're not in your ramp up yet and you kind of want to know like what to expect? Like what could it look like for you? Hey, Crystal. Hey, Steph. Hey, Jen. Will this have a replay? Michelle, the replay will be in the Patreon group. So stay tuned here. All right. So, and I always post that, by the way, in the event. So you can see like if there'll be a replay and where it will be. All right. So let's talk about some of the things that you could experience as a result of this ramp up. Okay. And so if you haven't had it yet, or if you're just starting it, it's good to kind of know what's coming. Right? So you know what to expect. So, and this is where I'm going to refer to my notes because it's kind of a long list of possible effects. Now, what I am noticing is the feeling of frenzy is a good word. There's like a frenzy of activity, and there's a tremendous amount of things wanting our attention all at once. And for some of us, we have never been through this. We've never lived through this. And so it's like, whoa, there's so much coming at me, right? And for others, if we've lived through this, it was short-lived, like planning a wedding, building a house, right? It's like it was for a period of time and enough time has passed that we maybe don't remember how frenetic the energy was, okay? But so it sort of feels the same. This is what I'm hearing from people reporting that they're in their ramp up. It sort of feels the same, but the specific attributes or symptoms aren't quite the same for everybody. So what I'm about to list doesn't mean you'll have all of this. And this isn't a comprehensive list. This is just stuff I've noticed for myself and from the many people that I've talked to in the past few weeks. Okay. So there is mental stuff going on, like fatigue, like mental fatigue. Like there's so much that you're accomplishing more in a day. You're having to make more choices and decisions and take more actions and be more decisive, that by the end of the day, your brain might just be like, TV, like you have mental fatigue, or forget about deciding what to have for dinner. No, I made 17,000 decisions today. You pick dinner, or I'm just going to eat a bowl of cereal, right? It's like that. Or you lose your train of thought. I mean, you guys know I do that, right? From time to time, because I've done it on camera plenty of times, but I find I'm losing my train of thought more often, especially if I get interrupted, because the locomotive is going so fast that if somebody hits the brakes, I'm like, that's gone. I have no idea what I was talking about, right? And some people are reporting difficulty being able to focus because they have so much going on in their mind, and they may not usually have like an active all the time mind. And so that's creating some challenges, right? Then there's physical symptoms. And what I'm hearing from people is fatigue, headaches, and super weird aches and pains, right? I think I told you guys, I don't know, it was yesterday maybe, or the day before. The other day I was on a call or a live, and I was talking about how I had to go lie down because my knees were just like so fatigued. It's such a random thing. I spend a good part of my day sitting in front of this computer, writing and making videos and creating and all this stuff. So I have no idea why my knees would like suddenly hurt. It's not like I was standing all day. It's not like I ran a marathon. But my knees felt like I had run a marathon. They were exhausted, and I had to go lie down. I took a 30-minute nap, which is weird. I'm not a napper. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just doesn't happen to be one of my vices. But I took a 30-minute nap, and then my knees like felt better after that. I don't know. And then the same thing today, right? And I was like, oh, my knees hurt again. This is so weird. They don't quite hurt. They're just exhausted. So yeah, that's what I mean, like sort of weird little aches, pains, or, you know, like bizarrities or whatever. Yeah. So Roxanne says it's exactly the way I feel. Yeah. The feeling has pretty much been the same for everybody. Heidi's like all the time. Hey, Nia. Steph says, yes, no focus, lots of fatigue. Michelle says, I rarely lose my train of thought and have multiple times the last 5 days. You're not alone, girl. I'm telling you, it's all this stuff that's moving. And Jen says, yes, so many aches and pains. I know. And they're random. We can't necessarily like attribute them to, you know, like when your feet hurt, you think, oh yeah, because I wore those shoes yesterday, which aren't good for my feet. No, you're like, your feet hurt for no reason. Like you sat around and wore slippers all day and somehow your feet hurt the next day. It's like bizarre. So this is all just part of this transition, right? Also, like, I haven't had this. Actually, I haven't had anyone tell me this, but this just came to me. So I'm guessing it's coming for someone. But like a 6-hour cold, you know, you've heard of like the 24-hour virus, the 24-hour cold, right? If I'm going to get a cold, I'll take the 24-hour. Thank you. I don't want the one that lingers on for 3 weeks that you can't get rid of no matter how much vitamin C you take and echinacea, whatever else. But yeah, I feel like some of us are going to experience the 6-hour cold, where it's like for 6 hours, you're like, I feel terrible. And then like all of a sudden after 6 hours, you're like, I'm good. You want to go out to dinner? What do you want to do? Want to go out tonight? Like no big deal. Like nothing ever happened, which is really weird to me, because usually if I get a cold or if I get sick, the number one thing I need is rest. Well, you don't really have time to rest in 6 hours. Kind of bizarre. But anyway, so yeah, weird physical stuff. Electronics fails. That has definitely been happening since my ramp up. And I can't blame it all on Terry Robnett, because some of them, like, she wasn't even around. Because, you know, I thought, so my ramp up happened around the same time that she came here to visit, and then I went to LA. So all these electronics things were going crazy, and I'm just like, no, it's Terry, right? Because we know Terry has this thing with electronics where they all go wonky when they're in her presence, right? No, it's been happening since I've been back from LA. So I'm like, wow, I can't really. And usually, Terry knows this, right? But usually what I would do is I would just like pet my computer, and I would be like, it's okay, Terry's not here. And then it would be fine. It would work fine. And I noticed that's not working. And I realized, oh my God, it's not Terry. It's this ramp up. It's like my phone is doing crazy things, and my email is doing weird things, and just my computer, and even my what do you call it? My, like, I have an embroidery machine. Even my machine, like my embroidery machine is acting weird. It's like no electronics are exempt. The TV was acting weird, the remote, even like locking the car door today, the car remote. So you could see a lot of just wonkiness and fails around electronics. Your Wi-Fi, I know somebody missed their call with me yesterday because it was like there was no cell service. And he's like, sorry. I'm like, no, I mean, it happens, right? Like, so cell problems, computer problems, emails gone missing or not showing up, whatever. There could be electronics fails, right? So, maybe don't blame Terry Robnett. Maybe it's not your fault at all. Like, you don't have to go, oh, why does this always happen? No, it's just one of those things, right? This is just one of the symptoms of what we're seeing. And then a lot of people are reporting heightened dreams, right? Like dreams, nightmares, more vivid dreams, more realistic feeling dreams, dreams that make no sense when you sit down to interpret them, like just sort of hodgepodge dreams and any of that kind of stuff. So a lot of people mentioning that. All right. Michelle says, I'm a napper. Jen says, especially fatigued over this last week. Yep. Hi, Nia. Cherry says, the urge to purge is so strong that it's just pushing me along. Hey, that's like a little poem you wrote there. Steph says, I had that Monday. Roxanne says, so aggravating. But it is annoying when your electronics don't work. We're so heavily dependent on them, most of us. But there's really not anything we could do. And remember, it's short-lived. It's not forever. So Heidi C says, my email keeps attracting email I haven't signed up for. Interesting. And Modern Lamp. Talar says, I've had my phone just shut down on me earlier. Yep. Terry says, haha, Terry's not here to your computer, cracking up. Yeah, but it works. It's not working right now, but Lenny Kravitz dreams. Yes. Talar says, I can't remember my dreams. I usually can't either. And when I remember, I look them up. And the one that I looked up had no meaning. Like it wasn't even in the dream dictionary that I use. And I went, huh. And then it was the same day that Heidi Brahm posted in Lightworker's Guide about her nightmare. And Terry Gorman told me she had a weird dream that night too. Cherry says, dreams, nightmares, yes, and waking up again and again at night. Oh, yeah, last night, too. That was me. I didn't sleep through the night, which was frustrating. Michelle says, oh, yes, I often dream and they're heightened. Yeah. So a lot of people, so see, you guys are experiencing a lot of this stuff, right? Or it could just show up like everything just feels weird. I've had that, too. Right? Where I'm like sitting in my office, which is the most grounded space that I occupy. And all of a sudden I'm like, I just feel super weird. Like I need to go lie down, like right now. And I'll go lie down for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then I'm fine. And then I come back and I get back to work and I do some stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like really lightheaded. Like I need to lie down again. You just got to roll with it. Right? So you could just feel weird, and that could be anything. That could be any kind of weird, okay? But yes, if you're having these kinds of feelings, you're not alone. Yeah, Steph says not sleeping well. Jennifer says my dreams are always big and vivid, but especially crazy lately. Crystal says my daughter has been having trouble sleeping. Yeah, I think Andy said Adam didn't sleep well last night. Heidi C had a weird dream the same night as Heidi Brahms, and I had one, whatever. Holly says, what about aggravation? I've been feeling super aggravated for no reason. I'm even getting on my own nerves. Yeah, that sounds like there's some anger that wants to be purged from you, right? So, and if it feels too hard to work directly on the anger, then do some healing work on your liver, because the liver is the seat of anger. So if you do some healing work on your liver, that will help process out that anger without you necessarily having to go, okay, where's this anger coming from? Let me look, right? All that stuff. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm thinking too, like, I actually was super annoyed a couple of days ago, like super annoyed. Like I had to look at the calendar and be like, where am I in my cycle? Nope. that's not it. I'm like, where's this coming from? So yeah, that could definitely be same thing. All right. So how to manage it now that we know what we're dealing with and why it's here and all of the different some of the different ways that it could show up. How do we actually, like, what the hell do we do about it? All right. So some of these are going to seem obvious. Do my New Orleans friends know yet where this cup is from? I'm going to cover it up. Recognize that cup? All right. Some of these are going to seem obvious, but guess what? They're worth mentioning, okay? Because maybe you're not doing them. Sometimes that's what a coach does, right? They point out the most obvious thing and go, well, have you been doing this? And you go, well, no, even though you know to do it, or like you haven't been doing it, right? Happens to the best of us, okay? Especially when things get crazy energetically. So number one, I know you think I'm going to say ground, but I'm actually going to say hydrate. Hello, hydrate or die. I just like it how to get more Lenny Kravitz streams. Holly says, thanks. We'll definitely try that. Cool. Crystal says, LOL, that was me yesterday. Oh, you were all aggro yesterday. Okay. Yes. Hydrate. Water. Why? Because here's the thing. First off, well, I know like where Heidi Brahm is, she said it was like 104 with the heat index yesterday. But so some of us are having really super warm weather, but in other parts of the country, things are cooling off. And what happens when things cool off? We don't drink as much water because we don't think about staying hydrated because we're hot. But there's so much energy moving right now, right? It's like a plane flying right over my house. That's weird. We're not on the flight path. That was so loud. Did you guys hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. It's like still going. Oh, I wonder if it might have been a military exercise because we are like 40 minutes from a base, from the Air Force base, the Air Force Academy. Anyway, that was just super weird. See, train of thought, distraction, la la la, shiny object or loud noise. Even though you may not consciously be doing clearings, there is a crap ton of energy moving. So this is why it's so important to hydrate. And all these physical symptoms, like I know, I woke up with a headache this morning and I was just like, oh, this sucks. I have this headache. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hydrate. And it got like just a weensy bit better from hydrating. And then I realized I had set a crystal grid like 3 days ago and it was time to take it down. But things are so weird right now. This is why it's hard to tune in and pay attention because if like I'm not normally tired. So when I get fatigued, I'm checking in like, oh, what's going on? Am I resisting something? Whatever. Like I go through the whole thing. And lately I'm like, I don't even check because I'm like, weird energy. I'm going to go lie down. Right? I'm like, I don't know. I'm tired. I'm just going to go lie down. So I'm just kind of rolling with whatever it's doing. Right. But so that made me forget, like, you dumbass, you got a crystal grid set. Go take it down. As soon as I dismantled that crystal grid, headache was gone. Right. And I was like, whew, right. And then that reminded me to drink more water. So water. Second thing is also going to seem obvious. Too bad. Do it anyway. Are you doing it? If you're not doing it, go do it. Rest. Okay. There's a lot moving. I know you don't want to rest, because your brain is going a million miles an hour and you have all these things demanding your attention and there's all this stuff that wants to happen and get done right now. But your physical body is not accustomed to being in 5D. So it needs to be able to rest and rejuvenate in order to keep up with whatever tomorrow holds for you. Okay? So this is really about honoring your body. And of course, hydrating would be part of that. Right. But, all right, let's see. Will says, oh, I missed a bunch of them. Hold on. Let's see. Cherry says, I'm sure you're going to say grounding, right? Wouldn't you think that would be first? That Heidi's like, what? Not grounding? No, because it's so obvious. You should already know it. Well, here's the thing too. Like, I don't know. I feel like grounding should be almost automatic in this insanity. Also, the more that I drop into just trusting that all of this is part of the process, I'm sort of grounding instantaneously by doing that. But yeah, you should ground. You should always ground, right? Heidi says, make that your intention as you drift off to sleep. Cherry says, LOL, water. Heidi says, I'm going to faint. Courtney says, hydrate or die. I did swipe that from the Camelback. That's the Camelback slogan. Will Hale says, I love water. Me too. Woo, woo. Heidi Brahm, yes, it's like living on the sun over here. People in Arizona would probably disagree and say they have claim on the sun. Stephanie said, yes, you guys heard the plane. God, that was crazy. I had never heard a plane that loud in my house. But again, that's the new normal, right? All right, Heidi said, I did that last night and got a dream with a karaoke friend instead. Oh, I guess that friend wasn't Lenny Kravitz. Heidi Brahm said again, it's like living on the sun here. We get it. We heard you. You've been acknowledged. Heidi C says, squirrel. Heidi Brahm, did you specify the Lenny Kravitz? Cherry says, I have no time to rest. I know. That's what we think, right? There's no time to rest. But if you don't rest, your body's going to start revolting and breaking down, right? And then Heidi C said to Heidi Brahm, I'm awfully good at visualizing him, but I'll verbalize it tonight as well. Okay, awesome. Well, it's also, if you hadn't noticed, we set the big intention of like what you want and what your goals are and stuff. But the universe is kind of calling the shots, if you hadn't noticed that, right? So we're like, here's what I want, and I'm thinking we'll go at it like this, and the universe is like, no, we're going to be like, shoom, 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 and then shoom, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that works too, right? Again, rolling with it. So, but because a lot of it's out of our control, and the universe is just like lining stuff up for us, right? That's another reason it's important to honor your body, right? Because that is something that you can control. You can listen to your body and hear what it needs and do what it needs, right? Okay, checking in and truth testing. There's some things I think for a lot of us, especially those that have gotten very, very comfortable with truth testing, there's a lot of stuff we don't even check in on anymore. We just go, no, it feels good, I'll do it. Like, how it feels in your body when something's aligned and something isn't. But this is like a topsy-turvy world right now with this energy. So I would advise you to check in. Here's an example. I thought I was doing a cool thing and planned a vacation for my family while the kids are on fall break. And the only downside, like literally the only downside, was that the girls were going to have to miss their group lesson for voice. And it's the lesson where everybody dresses up for Halloween and then they decorate the guy's property and place, right? And so we were like so excited to tell them that we were going on vacation. And within 30 seconds, everybody was pissed off and in tears. And like the middle one was wailing like that. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I planned this vacation and everyone's like pissed off and upset and angry. And I was just like, oh my God. And I thought, well, I checked in if it was optimal for us to go. I checked in if it was the most optimal resort to purchase, to reserve. I checked in to see if this, like when I booked it, was the day to book it. But I did not check in on arrival date. I had two choices on arrival date and one seemed way less desirable. So I picked the other date. And I was like, isn't that interesting that I forgot to check in on a thing and it turned out to be like, Now, Andy and I taught Andy actually, because I was like, you know what, bye. And I like walked out of the room. I was like, I can't even talk to y'all right now because I don't know what's happening. I feel like I keep saying that. What is happening? Because that's like what's going on in this energy, right? Like, what is happening? I don't know. It's crazy. So I leave the room and make a phone call to see if I could switch it by one day. I already knew the answer was no because I had these two options, but I wanted to see if I could pick an option in the middle. And while I'm making the phone call, the phone call was like, we'll check and let you know. And I go in my room to talk to my husband, and he's got all the kids there on the bed, right? And sorry, mommy, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I just made a call and whatever. And then they're all like, no, we're good. It all turned out to be this ridiculous misunderstanding. Ridiculous. One of them thought they were performing a group, and the other one was like, no, you're actually not. and the other one thought like is about to move up a level in the program and thought if she didn't go to this group that she wouldn't actually move up until the next group, which is like 6 weeks later. She didn't want to wait 6 weeks because she'd been working on it a year. And so she thought she was like all this stuff they thought they were missing out on, they were not missing out on, right? It was literally like, oh, you don't get to show up in costume and decorate his house. Right? So it was no big deal. And everybody was calm and relaxed and whatever. And so we like, okay, we're keeping the reservation as is, whatever. But it was like, my point on that is just checking in about truth testing. Because we think we know there's certain things that, you know, we get really comfortable with truth tests. There's a lot of times I don't whip out my pendulum. I know in my body if it feels like a yes or no. And there, you know, you get, I mean, I don't want to say lazy, but I think you streamline sometimes and you check this, this, and this, but you don't think to check this because it doesn't seem like a big deal. It didn't seem like a big deal to me if we checked in Friday or Monday or Sunday, right? And I'm like, if we check in Sunday, we have a shorter trip because we have to be back for such and such the following Saturday. So I'm like, let's check in Friday, and then we get a whole week, right? So then there was huge drama that ensued from that. So you're checking in and being connected to your guides and your intuition. I would recommend that you do daily, constantly, and before moving forward on any decision. Okay? Because there's just so much in flux right now that why not CYA and cover your ass and make sure that you're making the most optimal decisions, right? Because things are just like bubbling and brewing and whatever. Here's the other thing I would strongly encourage you from personal experience in the last couple of weeks. I don't know about you, but I love closure. I love completion. I love in sales or whatever, if I'm offering somebody something, I would much rather get a fast no than a long drawn out maybe, or a let me think about, or whatever. Just you want to do it or not? Just yes or no. I just really like the completion. Okay. And knowing this about myself, I know that there are times when I have to temper that because sometimes my desire for completion can bring something to a close that needs to stay open because it's not divine timing for that decision to be made. Or there's other things that are going to happen that I'm not aware of in that moment that are going to change the potential outcome, right? So as much as I hate open decisions that haven't been made and closed, and as much as I hate, feedback loops that are open, as much as I hate things not being complete and having closure, now more than ever in this ramp up, I have got to be more chill about that. And if that's an issue for you, you've got to be more chill about it too, because there's so much that's shifting. So for example, let's just say, that you want to take a trip, and maybe this is even your big reach goal, and you're like, come on, let's get it booked. Let's put it down payment. Let's pick dates. Let's pick a resort. Let's, start looking at airfare. Let's do it. Right. If you're checking in, using your pendulum or your truth testing or whatever, if you're checking in and you can't get a straight answer, don't force the decision. Okay. Because so much is moving right now. So much is shifting, and everything's going so fast that if you end up forcing a decision that is not optimal to make right now, just so that, like me, you can, it's settled. We have closure. I love that. Right. Or for whatever there could be other reasons that you want to make the decision. Maybe the decision's bothering you, or maybe it's stressing you out, or the uncertainty is upsetting or whatever, or you can't move forward on A until you can't move forward on B until you get A handled. So you're really anxious to get A handled so you can move forward to B or whatever. You're probably going to end up causing an upset, costing yourself more money, or missing out on the very thing that you're trying to move forward on by forcing it. Okay. So we've really got to be sensitive to the divine timing of making decisions and closing loops and moving forward on things. Okay. And I would strongly recommend, I love cards, right? I love John Holland Psychic Tarot. I'm thinking specifically I can't even remember what cards they are now, but there's 2 cards about decision making. I think one is movement, choices, decisions, and the other one is choose wisely. And they have 2 very different messages. And one of the cards, I forget which is which, that's why I refer to the book, so I don't have to memorize. One of the cards is like, the longer you take to make this decision, the more you're prolonging the very thing that you want. So chop chop is basically the essence of one of those cards. The other card has the complete opposite message that says, do not be pressured into making a decision before you're ready, because this decision is going to have far-reaching results. And don't listen to people who don't even know what your opinion and perspective and priorities are about this situation. Trust yourself and wait till the timing's right to make this choice. These are 2 very different strategies, right? So you better believe that I'm paying attention when I'm drawing cards. I'm paying attention to the whole essence of what the card is telling me, right? And so if it's telling me to slow down, I got to slow down. And if there's a decision that I'm like, we got time on that, I can't think about that right now, that's pressing, and it's saying you need to make this decision so things can move forward, then get in that space, right? But being connected and checking in, using your truth testing or whatever, is really going to help you with that. All right, let's see. Courtney says, well, good on you, Camelback marketers. You're killing me, right? Hydrate or die. All right. So hydrate, rest, honor your body, check in, use your truth testing, pause before responding. I do think that we can get very caught up in the frenzy, the speed of this energy, and the speed with which everything is happening right now and moving forward, that we could inadvertently be saying yes, 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 sure, 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 without taking the time to pause and check in. Also, kind of like I give this same piece of advice when Mercury's retrograde. Like when you get an email and someone's being all pissy or whatever, don't respond right away. Like take a break and come back to it later. Because I promise you, if I get an email like that and I respond in the moment, it is not going to be my finest moment. Okay? I'm going to be pissed off, bitchy, and I probably, like, my phase 2 Scorpio side will definitely come out for that. Or probably like my phase 1 or phase 2 will come out. Not my phase 3, the Phoenix, right? Who sees the bigger picture and rises above, but instead the stinger is going to be like, screw you, how dare you talk to me, right? No, I wouldn't say that, but it's still going to be bitchy and maybe even unprofessional. So I give the same advice and I really only find that to be an issue for me when Mercury's retrograde, right? Because first off, probably whatever they said is not what they meant. So we're prone to misinterpretations when Mercury is retrograde, and our emotions can get the better of us, right? So even though Mercury is not retrograde right now, this is very good advice for this ramp up period, is to pause before responding. If you are emotional, take a break, step back. And you don't just have to be angry emotional. You could get an invitation or an opportunity to something and you could be excited emotional, and you can end up saying yes before, like without checking in, without seeing if it's optimal, and without even having all the facts of what you're agreeing to, right? And then you're going to be saddled with that burden on top of all the stuff you're dealing with from the ramp up. So take a pause, think before you commit, and pause before you respond. If the communication's negative or inflammatory, or you feel activated, or your emotions are running high, take a break and pause before you respond, okay? I would also, and I talked about staying connected, right? When I talked about truth testing, the more you can be in communication with your guides, the better right now, right? Not only because things are moving quickly and it's good to have that constant guidance, but also because of all the things I mentioned. Like, you don't want to be locked into a decision that you're then stuck with, and now you don't have the energy for what really needs to be done, right? Yeah, so John says, I've learned not to force things some times ago, thus things flow more easily and often in ways I had previously not thought about. Yeah, and that's easy to do when everything's cool and calm and collected. But when the ramp up happens and things are coming at you a million miles an hour, it can be much more difficult to maintain that position of serenity and to be like, okay, no, instead you feel pressure, like, we got to get this handled. We got to move this forward. And the universe keeps pressuring me on this. So clearly I must need to, get a decision made on this or whatever. And that brings me to the next one, which is about trusting, right? So the more that you connect with your guides, the easier it is for you to trust that they've got your back, right? Like, together you can handle this, because it's not going to be forever. This crazy frenzied energy is not going to last past January. And with the help of your guides, you can do this, right? So staying connected not only to your guides and to your highest self and your intuition, but like also in our community, staying connected here or in any other groups like the Lightworkers Guide group, or any group that you feel like they really have your back, right? Like where you feel authentic love and support. Even though we're busy, don't be so busy that you remove yourself. I don't mean like you click to remove. I mean, like, energetically, you just don't have time, so you don't go in your groups. Stay connected. Make an effort to stay connected, right? Because we're all going through similar stuff. And first off, as fast as stuff's happening, you have no idea how fast collaborations can happen and partnerships and whatever. So, but we all need the support, right? We need you here as much as you want to be here, okay? So stay connected. And then also connect to your goal, your intention, your desire, that end result of whatever you're looking to accomplish. The more that you stay connected to that, the more resources and opportunities the universe is going to deliver to you, right? As opposed to if you go into your frenzy, or you're in your frenzy and you really don't have any idea what you want to happen, that is not a good place. That's not a good place to be in, right? That is like driving 90 miles an hour and you have no idea what to do when the road ends. Like, do you get off this exit, next exit? I don't know. Just like, well, you're going really fast, so you better pick something. Okay? So you don't want to be in this frenzy without a clue of where you're going. You may not know what your next move is, or your next 3 moves, or what day it is when you wake up, but you better know what the end goal is, right? What is it that you're out to accomplish? So, and that's also why staying connected is so important. And remember, this too shall pass. I know these are crazy times. Let's see. Heidi says, will rescue remedy help during the ramp up? I would say, yeah, if you're having, will it help what? I mean, it definitely helps calm, right? If that is a thing. Rescue remedy doesn't work on everyone. Do you know that? Because I know some people are like, I don't know what's wrong with me. It doesn't work. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just Bach flower essences are amazing, and they work on some people and they don't work on other people. So if it doesn't work on you, don't worry about it. Find something else that does, right? But if rescue remedy works, like if you start to feel anxious or stressed and rescue remedy calms you down, then yeah, I definitely think rescue remedy would help you during the ramp up. Okay, and then Susan says, wading through the emotional wave is part of my human design. What's optimal for me? Yeah, I'm going to be talking about human design next week here, right? So, but if you have if your decision-making authority is emotional, then you have to wait. The way I describe it is I tell people, imagine your emotions are like a lake, right? And so when you have high emotions, the lake is very choppy and it's very like there's big waves and stuff. And they could be positive emotions like you're elated or you just got invited to something that sounds exciting, or they could be negative emotions like you're pissed off or you're sad or you're frustrated or whatever. Right? But when those emotions are big, the lake is choppy. And when those emotions are calm, the lake is placid, right? It's smooth as glass. If you've got an emotional authority as your decision-making center in human design, you've got to wait for the placid lake. Those emotions have to be neutral and flat in order for you to make your best decisions. If you make them when the lake is choppy, you're not going to be happy with the decision that you made, right? Okay. Cherry says, I totally hear you. Pause before responding. That's what I've been doing. Stephanie says, I have no clue what I want. Well, isn't that what you're supposed to be deciding on this trip right now? So your Eat, Pray, Love trip. Cherry says, partnerships, collaborations. Exactly. This is coming up for me too. I don't know what to do. Can't decide. Just keep cleaning out that room and be open. You know what? Collaboration kept coming up for me has been coming up for me for like the past year, right? Shortly before Terry and I decided to write this book. Isn't that interesting? Talar says, what is that remedy? It's called Rescue Remedy. It comes in a little yellow bottle, and it's by Bach, B-A-C-H essential oils. And it's like you can spray it in your mouth, or they have little they call them pastilles that you just suck on and they dissolve. Stephanie says, yes, but still no freaking clue. All right, well, just trust that answer will come, right? Keep connecting with your guides, stay connected here, and trust that all of this is for a reason, right? And the more that we can do that, the more that we can stay connected and trust, the more, like I said, resources, opportunities, answers, direction, guidance, all of it, the more that it will come to us. All right. Thanks for being here today. And I'm so excited that you guys voted on this topic. This was super fun to teach on. And then the runner-up, just by within a couple of votes, was living your human design. So that is next week's topic. So I'll see you there for that. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.